Good reason. He's been leading a team towards the top of every CDL
I must say something.
The old man, the coach, he basically runs the house down there in Atlanta. And he's kept his team happy and always in a position to compete for the top.
Yeah, and they are looking likely more than ever, I would say, since the Cold War days, to have a good chance here. Yes, okay, we have seen chinks in the armor on occasion, but I still believe that a lot of people will be putting them as favorites. I think it's still difficult to say definitely which way this one's going to go. Lots of different words to be using there, but
How long have I been watching this?
A lot of people have them down as the favorite.
I would think so, right? Like, I do, but it's just tough because you look at what New York just did in the searches. It's like, it's going to be equal in that. And then when it comes to the respawns, like Atlanta FaZe, you know, to your guys' point, the hard points have been super close in like all of their matches, each and every time. You know, looking at the maps in this series, like they're squaring up on Fortress hardpoint.
Oh, that's not good. I got a B minus.
They had versus Seattle.
And
you think a B minus is
they look good at Hydro as well. The third
that's
time around,
not good.
Finally won it after the two
not for my
they had online.
not for my dad.
They should start playing Hydro, but they get rid of it in this one. You know, I can't question the Goach. I can't question.
I'm gonna have to try.
I'm not gonna say fuck your dad.
Just confusing.
The Goach.
I mean, you can say
You can
it.
spell that word
You
a lot of ways wrong. Let's talk about the team on the other side of this matchup. We've got the New York Subliners. They just crushed.
I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do as good as you want me to. I was like, but you're not doing it. I am.
He's backed up by Kismet, and of course, you've got Priest
Shit,
dropping some big numbers as well. The whole squad has been performing, and they just pulled off another upset victory with the 9th seed over our number 2 seed.
Honestly, I think this is one of the biggest fuck rounds I've ever had to do. Is moving into residence.
You know, we talk about this
There's
team,
such,
like we talked about
forms and stuff,
time and time again. It's a team we were worried about communication-wise, teamwork-wise. They've shut each and every pundit, analyst, anybody on a talk show. They've shut everybody up. Priesta has answered the call. The guy is going crazy and search and destroy. That's what I remember him being so good at, you know, early on in his career. Once again, he's picking up first blood after first blood. You talk about an X factor to a team. Kismet, the #1 X factor I've ever seen. This guy does the objective work.
Is he still in our party? Or is it glitched out for me?
He's always involved. And you know, we were talking about clutch factor. New York has it across the board.
I don't know what the fuck's happening, man. I'm not in the game. It says connecting.
But then New York took 3 straight, and they did it in convincing fashion at the end, Allie.
Yeah, no, the one thing about New York is, you know, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it all, it comes down to those first bloods and search and destroy. Those opening kills by Priesta. I mean, that game 5, they had 6 of the first bloods, and I remember looking over at Ton and being like, wow, this isn't a very fun game 5 because New York is just playing so well, so beautifully, and you're just a little nervous if you're Atlanta FaZe because even though they do well in those 3v4 man-down situations, New York Subliners, they're the wolf pack of the CDL. There's always going to be 2 players when you turn that corner and try to go for that trade, so it's going to be difficult.
And to your point, Allie, I'm actually really glad you brought that up, is in their last match, in that game 5, they gave up 5 first bloods to Seattle, and they're usually the #1 3v4 team. They only won one of those 3v4s, so Atlanta FaZe struggling there.
Ton, you look so sad rewatching those highlights. Is it because your boys on Toronto are out?
He's a biased caster.
Yeah, I am a very biased caster. I'm not going to try and get away from it. But look, one thing I was really thinking about, though, is the fact that we kind of wrote Subliners off for that control to a certain degree up on Hotel. We're now looking towards Embassy Search and Destroy, and we're doing the same thing, but they have just proved us wrong at every single turn so far. So that's why I'm thinking this is getting a little bit more difficult as well.
Is it too early for stats? Maybe. All right, let's take a look at our maps, though, as we dive into this best of 5. Let me know how you see it playing out, Allie, because, again, 3 nights at the Hotel, Fortress, and Embassy.
It is not too early for stats because in this building alone, NYSL is #2 in round win percentage on control. So by no blink of a mile do we think that is not possible for them to win that game 3 Hotel in the 3-0 fashion that they did. Well, it's because they're dang good at it. And hardpoint right now, they are the best team in the building in that as well. So the only thing I can say for the side of Atlanta FaZe is that game 4 is what keeps me in my hopes high and what should keep all of Atlanta FaZe's hopes high and our 3-night stay in Hotel here.
And what about the search and destroys, Allie? Is this a guarantee for FaZe? Because we said coming into the matchup against the Surge, they were looking flawless in search, but they dropped that game number 5, the crucial one in that last series?
What I'm worried about in the Hotel S&D game 2 is that Abizi was the #1 player in Search and Destroy, the best player in Search and Destroy heading into today. We haven't really heard much of him yet. I feel like he's been very quiet in these series. It's about time he woke up. So heading into this, I'm expecting Hotel to be very, very mixy. It should be Abizi's playground.
Raleigh, North Carolina, I need you to put your hands together right now because the fill, it's done. It's time to get your losers bracket final started right now as we send it to the stage with Guy Blaze.
All right, Raleigh, let's get this final started. One team has to go home. It's the elimination finals as we light this stage up in red and yellow. This is gonna be a banger, but the first team coming to the stage, looking to get rid of their opponents at the snap of a finger. You know it, it's Atlanta FaZe.
100 racks.
Wait, I forget. Who's in the finals?
Surge is in the finals right now so far.
Surge. Okay, yeah. So it's FaZe. Yeah, they go against.
Don't think you hear me right. Let me clear my throat. 100 racks have been my safe. I've been dreaming of pulling up in that rate. Take the stats. I ain't got too much to say.
It's telling me I have to pay it, and it's not letting me pay it. I don't know. I have to pay a fee for well, I have to pay for parking. That's $500, and then Boo Crazy. No, it's only parking. But I tell you one thing though, parking is expensive as shit in college. There's no need for it.
History. Can they make it to a final? Blaze, let's bring out their opponent.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get it done, but this next team got a bone to pick with them, and I don't think they're gonna let them go back easy. Get ready, because here comes your subliners.
You know, it's like all the guys in CDL, they're either like really skinny, like not really skinny, but like skinny and fit, or like super large.
Raleigh, get ready for the New York subliners!
Like there's no like in between.
Oh, hell, Hydra! We got Skies, Kismet, and P-Dog, the New York subliners. Hydra, Cole, Kismet, his dog. But Will facing the Tiny Terrors make him just look like a puppy. They have to come out here and come out fucking. The subliners, can they get it done, Guy Blaze?
If Hydra asked you out, would you say yeah?
Raleigh, y'all ready to get this started?
Landell
Study, let's get it going.
No.
Let's do
He's
it,
a good-looking
Blaze.
dude, don't you lie.
We got two
He's a good-looking
matches
guy,
here
but
at
he's not my
Major
type.
One, and it's time to find out who is going to join alongside the
That's all I
Seattle
can say.
Surge. They're in our Major One finals. Buddy, here we are, man. This is about to be a spicy match. It feels like nobody has any idea how this series is really going to go.
Me included. I have no idea how this is going, especially when you saw the maps. 3 nights stay at the hotel, that Fortress Hardpoint map number 4, and then that Embassy Search and Destroy all the way at the end. I understand that Atlanta FaZe are undefeated in that map, but New York aren't scrubs on it. They're also 3-1, so this series is going to be a banger from start to finish.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. As we said, one team coming off a win, the other is coming off of a loss, right? New York, a bit of momentum, Atlanta FaZe, right? I mean, you lose in a Game 5, Round 10 versus a team that you expected to beat. Is there any level to that, Jay? Is there any, do we dive too deep into that discussion, talking about one team off a win, one team off of a loss?
Well, if you're Atlanta FaZe, doesn't really matter because they usually find themselves in this position. They are veteran players. They know exactly what it's like to be able to bounce back off of the loss. And then if you are on the opposite side, if you're NYSL, you got it done in a 2-3-5. What makes this team so far scary as hell at this major one is their slaying ability. They still have 3 players in the top 10 overall KD, and that's why it looks scary when you're playing this team in hardpoint. It's usually go all the way down to the wire. And then in
hotel,
the controls,
but like, what's the first?
especially on that hotel, they have been looking like the best team on that map.
And
Emma,
it's
do you know?
terrifying too, because as we said, we have got
You know the
3
mode for
hotels
first?
we're visiting for.
No, I do not. I didn't see it.
I know the first 3 maps are hotel. They're all 3 hotel.
I need you guys to get loud for me. Are you ready?
It's control.
For this elimination final.
I'm
think
ready
that's
as fuck. They need to hurry
They
to
seem
get this
pretty
shit
ready.
done.
I
I
think
want
they're
to see
locked
FaZe
in.
just shred this shit.
They're pretty locked staring at
I'm excited to watch
hardpoint.
this.
As we said, we are going to be here for a while. One team advances, and one team is headed packing. Atlanta FaZe, New York Subliners. It's time to battle, baby.
And now New York are going to be able to start off on the better side, so initial time it is going to go in their favor for P1. But early pressure on towards bedroom. Hydras are already able to find 2 kills. You want to make sure you're able to at least contest this time if you are Atlanta FaZe, but that's all the slaying going in favor of New York, and those spawns are starting to flip.
They are indeed. Slasher looking to make the play. Hydra, decent effort. 20 unanswered points so far here for the Subliners. And Blue Jay, it's going to be a big emphasis on this guy in Priesta. He has been playing unbelievable Kai. There's been a lot of question marks on whether or not he was the right pickup for this team. Right now, sporting one of the best KDs so far at the major. And so far, it is New York who have done excellent work here over at our first hard point. But it's all going to be about this rotation. You've done the first job, and now it's time for the next one.
FaZe has a
And that's
rotation
going to be
right now.
Kismet able to slip right on by, make his way towards the back. Hydra at least finds the first kill. The hill still hasn't popped, so Atlanta FaZe, a couple players are still going to spawn over towards that spa area, but they're finding every
Simp, you're
single
so
kill in
beautiful,
the
bro.
feed. That's going to be a clean 4 dead. Now a hold has to come in.
Yep, first wave down. However, NYSL, they spawn incredibly close. Simp is not going to be prepared for that many players off the spawn. Here comes New York. They've overwhelmed every team with their aggression, and they'll look to do the exact same here versus Atlanta.
And usually Atlanta in hardpoint, they are the second team in the CDL in hold percentage at 81%. That break looked pretty damn easy for New York. Now they know where the spawns are going to be controlling it. That's going to be 3 dead. Last player up is Celium. And already off the rotation is going to be New York. They are ahead of the game right now.
And really, as long as Sky stays alive, it's going to be great work. Atlanta FaZe, they do clean him up, but they lose that fight off the rotation. You're fine with this if you're NYSL. Cool, final 15, not a big deal. Let's set up and be ready now for the kitchen, what could be one of the best hard points in this game. It's been tested time and time again, but that's the first wave cleared. Priesta down. Now Atlanta can begin to force the issue on the backside.
Gotta get to at least open up that back spawn. Spawns are now gonna flip in what looked like to be a great rotation for New York. Gonna get instantly broken by Atlanta FaZe. The adjustment's already in. You play it patient, find that initial kill off the rotation, and the hill is eventually gonna be yours. Now 40 seconds left. Abeezy kind of having a slow start. This is the guy who is going off so far at the major. That's another 3 dead, and you might have to cut the losses if you are New York. That rotation towards the next hill, you have to make sure you're in control of it.
And I think we just saw Atlanta, man. Oh, well, okay. A few team shots, all good. BC's just ready to get in the fight.
He's twisted.
And for good reason. Now on 3 in a row, starting to get things going. And as you said, buddy, Abeezy's really been one of the major reasons why Atlanta FaZe, when they've seen success in hardpoint, it hasn't really come from rotations. It has come from breaking. Typical Atlanta FaZe hardpoint, it feels like. However, can New York be strong enough? The kitchen, they weren't able to hold it, but can they do it now over at the bar? Atlanta waiting for everybody to spawn up. And now it is a full-on 4-man battle.
Oh, and Slash with great movement right there is at least able to give the comms to his teammates. That one player still playing towards the back, so Priesta has to be worried about the player going to the deep flank, but a little bit of assistance comes in from Skies. Now it's on to Abeezy. Player that's going to be sitting at checkout desk. It's going to drop an 8, unfortunately sticks right to the wall. Nothing's going to connect with that, but New York have been able to take the lead right on back, and the spawns do flip. If you are NYSL, if you can hold this from the front, this is bad news for Atlanta.
It is indeed, but Abeezy has arrived. Hearing all the conversations about him, quickly turning his gameplay around, and now the other Tiny Terror will look to add in a bit of work. Simp locking things down over at the bar. Another successful break from Atlanta, and a slim advantage at that. As now it is time for the restaurant. A rotation. It is going to be one early from New
early picks could be great. So far from NYSL, the reason why the advantage sits on the other side is because of situations like this. Early rotations, but great breaks from Atlanta. We'll see if they can do it again, as that's going to be 3 down.
Oh, that's a big 3 down. Start us off, Kismet finds 3. The Bulldog already at 13 and 10, leading in the engagements. Second in the hills, time remaining. He's going to take push down towards Jules. He at least finds one. Atlanta pays the goal 1 by 1, and Kismet is taking it apart.
Dude, Kismet's good as fuck.
Yeah, he's bumping
Bulldog coming out in the restaurant. Didn't know they were allowed in there, but he's forced his way through regardless. How great has Kismet been for New York as he looks to only pile on a bit more pressure, styling on everybody, and it just feels like this kill might go his way somehow. Okay. Finally falls, and for good reason. I think my voice would have got lost right there, Jay. Jesus.
Yeah, that guy was on a terror just now, but NYSL have a great hold on Dyna to now give themselves almost a 40-point lead. If you are Atlanta FaZe, one thing that they do struggle with in hardpoint is simply rotating. They're always relying on breaking. So far, they have been late to 4 out of the 5 hills. And that's why you see the stat line right now. Where it currently is, Atlanta FaZe do have control of the next hill, but he's going to at least take that player off the spawn. Now the airstrike is going to get invested. The pressure's going to be through the middle of the map, and New York, once again, find another break.
I love this, man. I love what we're seeing from Kismet. Earns the streak, calls it in, and now he's got some great teamwork in order to cut down a few players off this rotation once more. Did he just think his teammate? He does. Well, that's not great. He did everything right except for the nade placement. Tell you what, James, the first set of rotations, we've got explosions going down everywhere. 15 seconds still to fight for, but it was Atlanta with some great breaks early. New York, they finally closed the door at restaurant because of that streak from Kismet. It has only progressed them, as now it could be Skies' turn to go on a 3. Now make it 7 in a row for him. Another precision to have in your back pocket.
And you already thinking big picture. If you are New York, you want to trap them in towards the back of the flat area. Control the spawns 4P2 side. They're doing a great job of just soaking up as much time as they possibly can off of P1. A 50-point lead right now for the subliners. Atlanta FaZe need to find a break. It's going to be all-out attack through the middle of the map. Still the trades going in favor of New York. You can play this patient. You want to just take this player off the time. Make sure you're maintaining those spawns for next hill.
Oh, here comes Priesta, known for multiple roles throughout his career and showing us why exactly he can do it with both. Eventually does get cut down, but take a look at Hydra. Making the route toward the back. Trying to distract Atlanta FaZe over at P1, but truly makes the play toward the back. So New York do in fact have that spawn once we refresh and head over toward P2. Atlanta by no means out of this, but a full 60 here. It could really be early curtains as Priesta looks to get heated up.
Yeah, but Sip at least finds 1 kill in towards Bob. He can find the second toward the back. That could be big, but the Bulldog is able to take him down. So New York are going to be fully set up off the rotation. And right now, every single angle is going to be cut off. Celium does find one, but he's pushing right up the middle of the map. They are waiting for it. They're waiting for him to crossfire, and Kismet at least challenges him, takes him down, and New York so far holding the first push. That's going to be 3 dead. Now all of Atlanta FaZe spawning towards mid.
And this is where panic again begins to come forward. If you are Atlanta, watching the opposition inch ever closer to that 200-point mark, the Dolphin Dot comes in from Kismet. That's going to be 2 down. Separate easy, trying to lead the charge, but Skies, can he be the wall in the back? Oh, he cuts down a few. Oh, it's a 1v1. Another one. Trade after trade after trade. 20 seconds to fight for, and it could be Atlanta who comes out on top. And if that's the case, Player 6 is still fighting for it regardless. It's about the rotation. Atlanta with the scrap, New York with the rotation now toward Kitchen.
And now the setup needs to be better. The first go around, it was always that opening kill, and Slasher does it again. Now off the 3v3. Gonna put one player that's gonna spawn out all the way towards Deep Diner. He's gonna read the player off the pit. A team kill actually comes in as well, and now it's all in the hands of Slasher. Still in towards the back end. Look at where his teammates spawn all the way across the map. New York, they get the hold.
They get the hold. In Atlanta, again, another opportunity, another situation where you have to break. They did it at the lobby. Can they do it at the kitchen? What they were able to do last time. In the first set of rotations, they were successful, but now it has to be here. It has to be now. Simp rushing around the corner. He eventually gets dropped. Now it's on to Celium. He gets red as well. And Abizi, the soul man here. Technically, New York can walk away with this game on this very hard point. It's going to have to be a contest at the least.
Yeah, you got to take your time. You don't want to solo towel 1 by 1. Give them easy gunfights, as at least the trade does come in. Now there's only 2 players here. I'm pretty sure New York can no longer win here. But look at those spawns. Those spawns are now going to flip. It's going to be Hydra off the rotation, posted up towards back P2. NYSL do a great hold at Kitchen, and they should put themselves in a powerful position to close this out at this Death's Hill. The Atlanta FaZe are nowhere close.
Slasher trying to lead the troops. Problem being is that he's got nobody behind him right now. Eventually cut down there from Hydra. FaZe, only 3 members, but they're eager to make their way through the bar.
Gotta go.
A few more points left for New York. Can they close out this hard point? FaZe still tried and true. 2 more players still around the OBJ, and they break in just at the perfect time. But Skies, who's been holding on to this streak very patiently so far throughout this hard point, it could come into good use as we'll begin to watch it fly in. Can it find anything?
All we need is 3 seconds. Look at the route that Kismet is gonna hit. He's gonna make his way into his top bedroom. The pinch is gonna be here. He opens it up with the first kill. Hydra with the second. They can still win it off of this time, but Atlanta FaZe, they're holding strong. Now you're gonna force New York to try to rotate, but they can win it.
Hydra has got 1 more to contest with. Can it be 3? Can it be 3? Oh, Zelium!
He's gotta stay alive.
Locking it down. 1 more point, and there you go. Jay, that is just well-composed hardpoint from New York. Early on, Atlanta able to get some breaks, but NYSL started to figure out the game plan. They started to lock down those setups. And historical Atlanta FaZe hardpoint, rotate late, break early, does not work here in our game 1.
It's just a tough start if you are Atlanta FaZe. You have to make sure you're rotating to some of these hard points. I can understand you guys have a great break percentage on a majority of these maps, but when you are going into a map like Hotel, for these money hills, the first break that came in was at Kitchen. It was a beautiful break, but New York, they're going to make the adjustments. They're going to change their setup around, and even with Slasher finding that first
Hydra
kill
just
at
kept,
Kitchen, they were able to find
going
2 kills
to
in favor
next.
of
Like,
New
he was
York, and
smart.
then the team kill happens as well. When you allow New York to get a good chunk of time there, they allow
I'll be
you
right
to
back,
break
chat.
in the final 15 to 20 because they're focused on the next one. They were always playing a step ahead, and when you look at the slaying column, everyone is positive besides Priest to buy 3. That's what makes this New York team so scary. When they are playing like this, they're tough to take down on respawn, and so far throughout the major, they've also been great at search and destroy. So right now, New York, no weaknesses.
And this is just one of the many signs that we've had, right? So far throughout the weekend, we talk about young rosters. We talk about newly formed teams. It's about the consistency across all modes. Like, you can be good at one particular game mode. That'll only get you so far. I mean, we talked about New York. Once they started to see success at the Major 1 qualifiers, it was too hardpoint. We said, okay, can they do it in S&D? This weekend, they've been able to do it across the board, and then when we question them again about hardpoint, as the other things have improved, they come out and they show us this. And what a spectacle it is, man. I mean, I know Hydra plays well, but there was just numerous moments where Kismet was making plays. Skies goes on that wild spree as well. It really is a team with all the experience in Atlanta FaZe who have been in so many situations like this versus New York, a franchise with players who have rarely, if at all, ever been in a spot such as this. And it feels like they're rallying around each other.
They definitely are, man. It's probably that new team jitters, like everybody just getting known to each other. Everyone's feeling really confident with each other, sitting side by side. We were talking about this squad for NYSL in week 1 of qualifiers. When we went into it listening, it was 3 players comming. But ever since that meta chase happens for this team, it's done wonders. Hydra's leading in the comms as well. And then when you allow your SMGs to be the playmakers that they are, they're always playing around each other. No one is trying to go for a single chow. And if you are, you're the guy that's playing sneaky to go off that rotation. Just a sloppy number 1 hard point for Atlanta FaZe, going 1 by 1 by 1. And when you get picked apart, by the time you get that break in, it's already too late because New York are off the rotation. Now, if you are Atlanta FaZe, this is where they've been able to respond throughout this entire weekend. They only have 1 loss in Search and Destroy, and that comes in their last series versus Seattle all the way in that game number 5. So game plan has to be strong, and I'm really looking at a Beezy, who was the number 1 S&D KD with a 1.7 to answer back after not really the best performance in map number 1.
Like, we've heard S&D KDs like that previously. Like, I remember back in, like, Ghosts. Like, Ricky had an unbelievable, like, 2.2 KD. Rarely do you ever see by Championship Sunday those numbers actually stick. And what, as you mentioned, I think it's like a 6-1, 7-1 record right now for Atlanta FaZe coming in to this next Hotel S&D, which I think is really where we should dive into this conversation. Hotel, How does it look for either side? Really, what do you think the coaches are talking about for New York, for Atlanta FaZe coming into this battle?
I think if you are New York, it's all about the first bloods, because in that last series that they just played versus Toronto, they dominated in that column 12-5, and that is what eventually left for them to win both search and destroys. For Atlanta FaZe, though, in their series versus Seattle, at least on that final map, they go 5 for 5 in first bloods. But usually where Atlanta FaZe are really strong is in those 3v4 situations. They were only able to win 1. So if you are Atlanta FaZe, you just gotta take your time. Find that initial kill, play around each other. Let's relax with all this individual play. We know you have great talent in Simp and aBeZy, but aBeZy, it's either he's gonna get first blood or first blooded. The pacing has to be on point together.
Yeah, it absolutely has to. And if you are Atlanta FaZe, it feels like you cannot underestimate NYSL in any mode at all. We could go over hardpoint records. We could go over how improved their S&D has looked, their control, all of it. You cannot count out New York in any mode. You've got to be on your toes at every moment. As Atlanta FaZe strolls into Hotel S&D with nearly a flawless record. And to confirm it, it is 6-1, but are off of that loss. It was an LSCLO versus Ultra, but here we go into the game number 2, our second night at the hotel. Will it be another strong performance from NYSL, or can Atlanta FaZe show us something?
aBeZy's able to get all that information that a couple players are trying to attack towards Diner. You see 2 other players from Atlanta fully set up for that A push. They're just playing this patient. This is what New York were able to do so well in their last series. Just put a lot of pressure towards one site, get a couple players to rotate, and then hit that rotation back towards the other. As you see Priestahh just being that island player at desk, just gonna take his time, but New York are not panicking at all.
In no way are they. And I believe I said earlier, Atlanta FaZe got a lot versus Toronto versus Seattle. Regardless though, into the round 1 we go, and really nothing has happened. I feel like for New York, they're waiting for that push over at B, but it's the early trades that come in. Skies and Priestahh, the new additions for New York, able to find 2 early picks throughout the round. And in an interesting spot through mid-map right now are the subliners.
Oh, and aBeZy, he can make the play. He's sitting in towards storage. They have no idea where he currently is. Priestahh, unfortunately, he's not going to check his corner, so now it turns into a 2v2. He's able to earn himself that dead silence, but the bomb is going to get planted. So you want to try to regroup with your teammate and attack together as MC, which is Cellium, gonna pop his as well.
We'll see if they try to go in from the same door or opposite ones. It looks like aBeZy gonna come in from the side, making sure things are clear. Big information to have if you are aBeZy. Spots Kismet on the catwalk, knows that he's out of sight. Now it's time for him and Cellium to pounce onto this bomb site. Where is Kismet hiding? Right inside the one corner that you didn't spot. Skies is able to drop him. Now into Cellium, 1v2, cuts down 1. A 1v1, Skies versus MC. And Skies may have just played this round perfectly. He calls out the bait, and they will secure the round. Atlanta FaZe, it felt like they had all the information, but it will be the subliners who come out on top. What a dicey round 1.
And that all came down to a lot of COD timing right there, because obviously if you're aBeZy, you spot Kismet drop down towards bottom mid, you know that a player is going to be in towards Freezer. But Skies turns it around. It had to be communication as well from Kismet. He had to let them know they can push out towards Carpet. They can potentially flank you. He finds that timing to take down aBeZy and then just plays the beautiful 1v1, knowing that Cellium is probably not going to hop this bomb. Just wasting a lot of that clock. Eventually clutch up the first round.
Into round 2 we go. NYSL now
careful
on the defensive end, and we have seen a lot, my friend. You and I have cast quite a bit of subliner S&D, and this guy has been a problem on pretty much every map with the sniper. And right now it feels like whack-a-mole. MC willing to reveal his position, but only for a moment. Maybe a little bit of a snaking activity, perhaps.
He's probably just trying to get some information. If he spots it clear, goes back alley.
Oh, beautiful.
aBeZy gets that info. He's able to get the first blood onto Skies. Bomb is now going to get planted towards A. In the 3v4, New York are not in a position to try to retake quickly. As Hydra is going to invest on the dead silence, but just the way that Atlanta FaZe are currently playing, the late pitch is about to come in from the island player in Slasher. He should be able to at least catch one.
If Slasher finds this pick, makes things that much more difficult. Kismet goes surfing, and now for NYSL, a quick 2v3. Hydra, however, does pick up the snipe. And it's been pretty frustrating so far from the subliners. Now we bring it in 2v2v2. Simp wiped off the map, but still a big job to do. You got a bomb to defuse, 2 players to find. Priesta is punched in the distance right now, but Abizi from the top. Oh, Abizi cuts down both. And I mean, I tell you what, if Priesta finds that kill, that's a defuse.
It definitely is a defuse. He just didn't really commit in towards top bedroom. He didn't want to put himself in a close angle.
Or it's Hydra.
As Abizi just does what he needs to do, takes the player off bomb, and then a big kill onto Hydra with that TAC 56. Doesn't allow him to stick that defuse. First blood for the round, Atlanta FaZe. They're able to get on the board, tied at 1 now.
They really kick off the round. I mean, that's just frustrating, right? Your Skies. Maybe he just gets too focused on selling him in that moment.
It's because Celium was just throwing those shoulders, just trying to get that glare. Once he saw the glare pop up, he allows Abizi to attack him and get that first blood fetch.
Oh, good old Celium snipe. Kind of an uncommon angle, but one maybe not as often used as over toward Lights and Slasher to Abizi. They're just getting the job done. A quick 4v2 and Hydra, he'll get dropped as well. Skies, last one up, 1v3, pulls out the knife, and that is just clean COD from Atlanta.
Very clean COD. You can catch the island player who's trying to push up towards Diner. One player was trying to watch that mid flank. Once you take both of those players down, it's 2v4. Someone has to make a play. You at least have to try to find a kill immediately. They were ready for the push out. 4 up, 4 down. Clean round right there for Atlanta. Pretty sure that's 3 first bloods for Atlanta as well.
It feels like that's been the name of the game. I mean, how often have we talked about teams throughout this week? And it's like, oh, look at the first bloods. It's all about the first bloods. I know historically in COD history, it feels like it's like 70, 75%. Maybe even this weekend, it could be as high as 85, 90%. Abizi having a phenomenal start to this S&D. He has been Mr. Search and Destroy so far throughout this weekend, living up to the name. See if he can strike for the first blood, as he commonly is known for. Bomb is going to be on his back, and right now, if Skies just decides to peek out a little farther, it could be a pick, but Abizi able to reply back, now brings it into a 3v3 and has a precision to utilize throughout the remainder of this game. And not only does he have that streak, he's also got Deddy Pop.
He's going to get aggressive. Just keep in mind that he's the player with bomb. Actually going to decide to back on down, plant this bomb for his team, because look at the positioning right now of Slasher. Should be able to catch any players trying to rotate through the middle of the map. You have Celium who's watching the deep flank. Basically, everything is going to be cut off. Just want to waste as much time off of that clock as you possibly can. 30 seconds to work with. A big gunfight is going to go on the flank. Kismet has to try to at least take down one.
2 big gunfights go on either side of the map. Kismet wins his. However, it's trades that technically do favor New York. Slasher, last one up and a bomb to try and defend. And Kismet's going to be on it. Priesta doesn't spot him. Oh, the great leverage, the great work from Slasher. Gets out of dodge. And Priesta has got to go for this gunfight. Has Slasher clutched it out for the team? Yes, he has. And he's also put you in a body bag.
That's what he does. That's what Slasher has been known for years in Call of Duty. It's all about these clutches in Search and Destroy. Usually the island player is going to potentially find one on the round. When you leave him in the 1v2, he's a world champion for a reason. His stat wrap back is where Kismet catches that player on the flank, and then all he has to do is just take that player off bomb. Once he does that, wastes enough time on that clock, and then eventually finds the kill onto Priesta. Another round on the board for Atlanta.
And that's what they brought this guy in for. They brought in one of the oldest players in the league, a guy who won a world championship to make plays, and he answers with the first blood to kick off this round. However, aggression may very well could tell the tale of how this round goes. Celium and Simp answer, however, Priesta at least able to get on the board. A 1v2 versus, well, some prior teammates. P-Dog has been the story so far, it feels like, of this major for New York. And could he have a nice little clutch cooked up for us? What that momentum would mean.
He has a lot of time to work with. He's just probably waiting for this dead silence to be earned. And if you are Atlanta FaZe, you sort of want to play a buddy system to where you can immediately find a trade if needed. So now the dead silence is going to get popped. Bomb's still going to be down over towards that A site. As Celium and Abizi just going to pop both their dead silence. They cleared out B. Now the attack is going to be straight over towards A. Priesta, you just want to get this bomb that as possibly can. He's going to get spotted.
I don't know how he managed to stay alive. Goes for the heat check, I guess. And that is a 1v3 denied. There from Atlanta.
Just picking them apart one by one.
This is search and destroy.
It's another first blood with the Semtex. And then
Emma?
eventually once that happened, the trade does come in, but doesn't really matter because
It's
the
just
rest
me
of
and
the
you.
players on
What the
Atlanta
hell
FaZe,
happened to
they're gonna find
everybody?
two kills towards the middle of the map.
Oh,
Eventually, it
man.
all falls into the hands of Priesta.
All right, you sound like Shady now.
To work with in that round.
Ow!
Pretty sure that's 4 straight
I don't know,
rounds
man.
for Atlanta FaZe.
I don't think
in
I've
this
ever heard
SMD.
Shady say that.
It's been great work.
He says it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't really talk to him very much.
All that reliant on Hardpoint. It has been about search and
Yeah, it's
destroy, at least
4-1.
as of late.
Man.
As New York in dire
Yeah,
need
they're
of a
doing it.
reply. Problem being is that they've got a lot of noise happening over at A. Meanwhile, take a look at the bottom left side of your screen. New York, they just got duped.
That's a perfect blind counter. Atlanta FaZe gonna be able to get this bomb down at B for free. Sullivan with the tactical usage is able to draw every single player from New York. Now it's a 4v4 retake at this site. Sullivan is the player that's still watching flank. Probably want to get closer towards the play, just in case anything freaky happens. It's all about these gunfights from here on out.
Oh, Beezy through the smoke. A position that you think would absolutely favor someone like him.
Dancing.
Goes for the cross. Oh, this is a big gunfight. It's a big gunfight. Sky's not able to take it. The Beezy erupts again at 11-2. It's all down to Hydra, nearly beat down. 10 seconds to go. Retake.
Let's go.
Unsuccessful.
Just a perfect blind counter right there from Atlanta FaZe. It was all on the back of Celium. The fact that he puts himself towards death at that A site, you throw your Semtex, you throw your tax, you get every single player from New York to focus on that site, because that's where Atlanta FaZe have been attacking on all their attacking rounds. Put a lot of pressure towards one. Eventually, the other one is going to be able to open up. Just a perfect blind counter. He's not going to put 5 rounds in a row. Atlanta FaZe at game point.
And it's just such a beautiful call as well, right? You're up at that point, 4-1 in the S&D. Oftentimes, you know, teams in a spot like that, you've been seeing some success over at a certain bomb site. Let's just be aggressive. Let's put a round up on the board. New York expecting such, ends up getting countered. However, this time, it could be somewhat of a similar situation as Priesta, making a lot of noise over at B. Meanwhile, the rest of the teammates over at that A site. However, bomb has yet to get planted. Slasher, a problem toward bottom parking. This is a needed pick if you're Kismet. Job done. And now the Atlanta trio is going to have to make their way through that New York subliner spawn.
3v4, 40 seconds to work if you are Atlanta. They spot a couple players trying to hit that deep flank. It's going to be Priest who's able to back them down, so time is just starting to tick. Abeezy's trying to work back towards bottom bedroom. Plays have to come in now. It looks like the pressure's going to be in through the middle map and through bed, but New York, they're fully set up for this.
Yarvatine, oh, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Hydra, you have to answer. Brought down to 8 HP on a dolphin diving Celium. 10 seconds to go. It just feels a little bit too late for Atlanta. A little late to the party. Simp trying to style. Eventually does fall. And New York are finally able to stop the drought. That was 5 rounds in a row. And I guess you could say better late than never, all right?
Definitely better late than never. At least keep yourself in the game for now. That play call right there from New York was beautiful. Priestley gets the information that one player was playing towards Cat Steps, and one player was also outside of Freezer. So that's at least 2 players from Atlanta FaZe at that B site. You get aggressive towards bedroom, you find the initial kill, the only player playing towards bottom lights, you get the bomb down, you take control of bedroom, eventually you clutch up on the round. New York stay alive.
We'll see. These last few rounds have been all about fakes. It's been all about baits. We'll see if that remains the story. Sky's a little frustrated from his early engagement with Celium. Still really has yet to put that snipe to work. And it's all-out aggression being established from New York. They realize that site is clear over at B. Let's rush on through. And now grouping up together are going to have that man count advantage. And Atlanta, maybe recognizing such, realize, hey, time to plant down this bomb. Let's get a move on.
Yeah, once New York take down Slasher, they know that that's the guy that's usually watching that late flank. So now the bomb is going to get planted in the 3v4. He still has an airstrike to work with. Sky is able to hit a snipe onto Sin.
Hello. Oh, Celium!
Wait a minute.
Pixel perfect cuts away too. Abeezy, uncharacteristic with the tack out, but it's S&D for God's sake. Is now gonna have to do it all by himself. Hydra on the
Gets the kill, he's out.
Oh, he gets away. Abeezy gets away. It's a 1v1. Does he know the Priest is on the bomb? Does he know the Priest is on the bomb? He might now. He might now. Abizi.
He got it.
Not edge him out.
No, it's not over.
The music, cut it off.
It's not over.
Cut it off.
Priesta got it. Right there, if you are Abizi, you set yourself up for success.
Woo-wee.
But just that little crease right there, Abizi had that hesitation. I don't really know if he's on bomb. You had to hit that repositioning, and Priesta just commits on the defuse. Keeps New York a little bit more alive in this search and destroy.
Okay.
That's a momentum-changing round right there.
That is exactly right, New York. With some confidence. Back-to-back rounds. Can they bring it closer? Another first pick. This time it's going to be for Skies. An excellent job. 8v3. That's Abizi who wins that fight. So quite a bit of noise going around. And Slasher doesn't revealing his position. We'll have to be careful. He's got quite a few New York players around him. Hello. Welcome to the trap. And there you go, New York. They have
Oh, come on, FaZe. Just end this shit,
Coming back
man.
round by round. You can just tell the confidence level right now for NYSL. Starting to go in their favor. Super aggressive over towards this A site. They find that initial first blood onto Simp towards bottom bedroom. They do not rush plant the bomb as well. They're making sure that everyone has their gun up. And then the SMG duo of Hydra and Kismet just take control of top and bottom bedroom. Slasher opens up that door like, oh my God, there's two of you guys here just waiting for me? Probably wasn't expecting that, but New York now down 5-4.
Down 5 rounds to 4. We'll see how they can look to try and reply. I believe we do have a quick and minor little pause. We're going to work this one out, get it all sorted. Again, Atlanta FaZe, it is all about staying calm in moments like this. Down 1-0 after that hard point, you're up 5 rounds to 1. You got to remain composed. I mean, you got to think. Considering how great New York has looked across every mode, if they can bring this one back somehow in these next 2 rounds, that has got to be confidence shattered on the other side.
Oh yeah, without questioning. Just looking at the stats for Abizi, he's currently sitting at 15-4. He was the #1 S&D KD going into today, and he's showing it early on in this search and destroy. And now that at least this gives you an opportunity to take a breath. A couple of these rounds have been getting out of your way. You're getting first blooded in multiple rounds back to back. That's what's allowing NYSL to slowly pick you guys apart. They're not rushing their plays. It's nothing but teamwork. But I think the game is ready to go. I think we're getting back into it.
There we go, folks. It's a little bit of a water break. It's all good. We thought Hydra broke something, but thankfully not. But could he break? What seems to be a solid foundation for Atlanta in search and destroy is the French phenom. Could be the man to make the play. Take a look at New York. They've got all 4 players together around this middle P1 area over at the arches. Here comes the streak that will cause a few players to scatter. Hydra, he's got one soloed out. They've got one soloed out. Sip, he's got to escape. Sip wins the fight. Sip takes down 2. He had 3 players around him, and he somehow could have just won the game for Atlanta.
3v2, 40 seconds. All left up to Skies and Kismet. Kismet's still thinking that Simp is still on the left side of the map. He's already rotated out. Fortunately, Kismet is now gonna get picked off, and Simp is working on the ace. He finds 3 on the round, all left up to Skies in the 1v3. Only 20 seconds left, and Slasher closes it out for Atlanta FaZe. Never
Way
really
to end it,
worried.
guys. Holy shit. Because that was
You're
getting me
talking about
nervous.
this Atlanta squad. They have world champions. They've been in multiple different situations. A game pause comes in, allows them to get that deep breath, to take that deep breath, allow Slasher to change it up. He was usually the island player that's watching that deep flank, but it's this time around Simp who finds that initial 2-piece.
How does he
I don't know
get
how
out?
he did that.
How does he get out? So he's basically at back jewel. You have 3 players who are all around you, and not only does he escape with his life, he takes 2 players down and leaves.
It's got to be devastating if you are New York, because there were 3 players focused on that one guy. Simp just hissed out Dolphin Dive. He gets all the way out, finds that initial kill, and then the challenge, the trade does not come in. Once that happens, now you know you're in a 4v2. You cannot go for that kill, because if he gets all 3, it's basically done and dusted. But when he earns those 2 kills, he eventually earns that dead silence. Pops it, gets out of dodge, and then just finds the third kill to close out the round. Atlanta FaZe. Oof, they needed that one, man. That one was starting to get scared.
It was a little bit like, we were talking about it. Like, you always feel pretty confident in Atlanta FaZe, but in a situation like that, you were up 4-1. It started to get close. And much like Simp has throughout his entire career, making plays for Atlanta FaZe, he does it again. And now just like that, we have got ourselves a series so far. It's basically been game 5s all the way around. And this one just feels like it may have that very same type of grit to it. We've been on the hotel, and that is really where we're going to be heading next for this upcoming game number 3. As we said, it's our elimination final, a grand final spot on the line. Make sure and stay with us as Major 1 Championship Sunday continues right after this.
Oh my god, I've been sitting in this chair for too long. Oh my god.
We'll sit here.
What?
What?
What'd you say?
I was talking to my stream.
What are you streaming on YouTube?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Why do you always say that?
I don't know. It's just something I say.
See?
Cause like it's not rude and it's not like that's crazy. Let me see that. Oh fuck.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Howdy, friends, and welcome back to Major 1. It is Championship Sunday, and Raleigh is showing up right now for our current matchup. It is Atlanta FaZe on one stage, facing off against the New York Subliners. Again, one spot remains in our finals versus the Seattle Surge, and it is still up for grabs between these two as we get ready to jump into game number 3 of this series, Hotel Control. Jay, what has been this series so far? What can we look forward to now in the swing mode?
Well, the #1 map at that hard point, it was all about the rotations for New York. They always set themselves up for success. Atlanta FaZe were able to bounce back into that search and destroy by winning that first blood battle. Eventually tied up at 1. But when we talk about this Hotel Control, this is the most important map of the series.
Okay.
So far, when we look at both of these two teams at the major in control,
My room is an icicle, and it's because I have my heater covered up.
5-1 for New York. They've just been having a lot of success on anything that they have been playing besides El Asilo. Fortress, they're 2-0. And then on the Hotel,
No,
they
I'm
have
not.
just been dominating easily, either winning 3-0
That
or 3-1.
has nothing.
So if you
No.
are Atlanta FaZe,
Can't say I'm weird because I'm
based off of what
Canadian.
we saw in map #1, it's simply in the sling. We're talking about control here. It's 30-30 in lives. You have to make sure you're getting your kills, holding down these power positions, because when you allow NYSL to finesse
ain't
around,
true.
they're going to use their teamwork to the best of their ability. The player that I'm really looking forward to watching is going to be these two players on the screen.
How about that?
Easy so far in this series is a .85. Not really the best hard point.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the SDK.
Yeah, the SDK 3.0. The guy went 15-5. He dominated. So BZ has some momentum going on his side. And opposite from him is going to be the Bulldog, Mr. Do-It-All for this New York team.
I just barked in front of 3,000 people, Jay.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was good.
Esports is wonderful. We love it. Game 3, we go. Atlanta v. New York. And it will be FaZe starting things off on the defensive side as we take a look at Abizi off the rip. And really, pretty much everything clear over, for the most part, at that B zone. It is New York focusing all attention over at A. Here on Hotel, A is the easier one to get, and it feels like New York going passive to start this round off.
Yeah, New York are just trying to get the easy thing out the way, and that's completing this 8-point. As the stack was going to come in from Atlanta FaZe, 3 over towards that B point. So the perfect blind counter to start us off in this round. The second segment is about to be complete, and look at the minimap already.
I think this is probably the longest I've actually watched
It's
something.
already in towards back spa. You can try to chain it all the way across the map, but at least the break comes in for Atlanta FaZe. Third segment not going to be done.
But take a look at Kismet, who has managed to sneak through. Okay, well, he's off the map. It looked like a good play, all right? It looked like something was brewing, but it could be, in fact, a instant push over at A. Maybe that little play from Kismet distracts the likes of Atlanta, and with those few kills that come in combination, it is going to be another minute added onto the clock. So 2 minutes now to work with if you are New York, and we'll see what this attack can look like. As Atlanta FaZe have got to be careful. This is a very scary New York team, especially these close quarter positions.
Yeah, it's all about this bedroom control. And right now, 2 players from New York are trying to focus it. So it's all going to fall into the hands of Sip. How long can he stay alive in this position? With him being here, any kills that you get all the way across the map. Early shots, not able to find that kill onto Priesta, but BZ at least finds 2, relieve some of that pressure. That's going to be 3 down, and at least the spawns from New York are all the way across the map, but they can still get here before Atlanta do.
I mean, that's a millisecond. Slasher is trying to throw down the trophy. He ends up getting dropped. That's 1 tick through. Another pick. Abizi trying to cause some problems over at the bar. It's on Disguise. It's his role. It's his job to make the play. He ends up sacrificing himself, and Sim hits an incredible shot. It's all into Hydra now. Cuts away 2, and he's basically the lifeline. He's the checkpoint right now for New York, as he will keep this attack alive for now. Basically everybody resets and prepares. NYSL 2/3 of the way there.
The second segment is already in. This pinch is going to be from Simp, but he eventually gets traded. Hydra's still staying alive on towards the point. They had the crossfire set up, and Sick is about to come in. There's only 1 player left, and everybody from Atlanta FaZe all the way across the map. New York with the perfect transition. Once they find those couple kills through the middle, to get on that point, eventually watch the cross, don't allow anyone to jump on from Atlanta FaZe. And a pretty quick attacking round goes in favor of New York.
And you can make it 10-1 for New York and their last 11 control rounds on Hotel. Yeah, they also like this map quite a bit. We talked about Atlanta. They've been seeing a decent amount of success earlier on in the tournament here on Hotel Control as well. But the problem that they've had, Jay, is that they started off the major winning their very first 6 attacking rounds in a row. That is the reason why they started things off like 3-0. However, they've lost their last 2 Hotel Controls, and all of that has been because they cannot win offense anymore. So they started off great. They've started to trail down a bit. We'll see if they can improve upon that record as they go standard as well, right into A.
And you can already see the adjustments for Atlanta FaZe, because usually if you talk about that series versus Toronto, they went for that B point initially, but then they could not capture A for 2 different attacking rounds for 2 minutes. That's just unacceptable, but just getting the easy work done. That's gonna be 3 dead in the feed. Skies is keeping this powerful position towards bedroom, forcing all the spawns for Atlanta FaZe to continuously spawn at kitchen. He's potentially gonna try to set up a pinch, but might get some great timing and be able to get that player off point.
He absolutely has the ability to do it. However, the nade is out. Sky still fighting the pick regardless of it. He wants the challenge. He desperately wants the challenge. And Atlanta FaZe, for a moment, if Easy got off the objective, he had full confidence that Celium was going to be able to win that fight, and he does. So, both teams basically doing the exact same thing. Let's get A out of the way, get that minute onto the clock. Let's try to keep lives somewhat even. And now it is all about the picks. As Priestep starts things off, cuts away Celium. And this could be the opening. Slasher realizes, hey, we've already got 1 pick. Let's try to make it 2. Is Hydra going to be ready for it? And yes, he is!
It's a big kill coming in from Hydra to maintain bedroom control. Pretty sure one player is trying to at least attack it from Top Cat. Finds the timing and wins the gunfight. Big kill coming in from Celium. Now you have to control the spawn. The spawns for New York are going to be all the way across the map. As Abizi's still finessing around. He finds himself on a 3-3 in towards the back. But now with his teammates dropping, still full bedroom control for NYSL. Just have to make sure you're maintaining this side of the map. And now that's going to be 3 dead. Last player up is Abizi. Farthest player pushed up, and he's still finding another kill.
And this just feels like, Jay, Atlanta, it's a must-needed round. It's a round that you have to take. You cannot allow for New York to go up 2-0. You've been slow on attacks lately. That trend cannot continue. This next minute very well could define already who ends up winning the swing game, who ends up going up 2-1 overall in this series. Right now, Atlanta FaZe, they've got a few players inside of New York space, but it's up to Abizi and Co to try and break on out. So far, job unsuccessful.
Job unsuccessful, and that's because it's making it so damn difficult because they have nothing but bedroom control. Those players are consistently staying alive, and then everyone that's coming off spawn at Jules is getting that pitch through the middle of the map. But beautiful. Tell him they're combining for 2. Now the stack is going to be in. You know that one player is still sitting in towards your bedroom. These kills can be big.
Oh, Hydra! They start to line up for a moment. 2 get wiped away. Celium, last man on the point. Great work from New York to clear the way. 30 seconds left. One last good look at this for Atlanta. And take a look at the aggression being shown from NYSL. Hydra gets traded out. And now it does slow things down a bit for Atlanta once more.
You have to get across if you are Atlanta. Catch this player off spawn, and then put all your focus on towards bedroom. Because they're just playing this patient and trying to take down Hydra. Priesta with the assistance, watching that flank. Takes down the first, takes down the second. There's still 1 player in towards the back. Celium at least finds 1, but that's going to be 3 in the feed in favor of New York. Only gives up 4 seconds. They hold strong on the defensive end, and 11-1. On control, on Hotel in their last couple of rounds. New York, this is looking like one of the best maps.
And we were a little, I don't want to say surprised, but it was like, are they really going to try to test New York on Hotel Control?
I think you didn't want to play them on Fortress, that's for sure. And neither one of these squads really do like a CeeLo. That's going to get auto-vetoed, so it's either one or the other. You're going to play the one that you're better at, and that's what Atlanta FaZe decided to do. But it's just the way that New York have been playing so far throughout the major on this map. They're basically unbeatable, and it's showing.
It's just, obviously it's hindsight a bit, but just that number just continues to stagger, continues to surprise. Take a look at that score column. Slasher's got to get going right now at 3-12.
Uh-oh,
and
not a good start.
Like we said, so far through the first 2 rounds, it's been all about A. New York with some confidence. They decide to rush instantly over at B. They've got 3 players on the point, and already it starts to look dire from Atlanta. A bit of a lifeline is going to be necessary. Simple to Beezy, the Tiny Tears, making their way through the hallway. Can they make anything happen? Oof. Yes, they will. Meanwhile, it's Priesta making the smart play. He rushes in toward Restaurant. A decent job done for New York. 2 ticks done, and now it's up to Atlanta. They need some solid moments of slaying here.
Play call right there from New York is beautiful. They know that every single player is going to spawn towards kitchen. They decide not to attack front. They wrap back and try to fight for their bedroom control. So it's all going to fall into the hands of Abizi. A couple sound cues in his headset. He's going to be able to at least spot one, but the trade does come in. So now if you are New York, you have bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
Dive. Hydra's just going to dive right on out. He's going to go for the challenge, and he wins it. Now, no players from Atlanta FaZe are in a position to slow this one down. B might be done and dusted.
It very well could be. Hydra is Skywalker, man. He's really not even on the ground anymore. 4 down, and there you go. B zone done. And New York quickly pivots now toward the restaurant. Slasher saying a prayer. This New York offense is something terrifying.
Gotta slay. Gotta get these kills.
Rushing into the restaurant, Sip. I mean, Atlanta, they are just working with low numbers. Nobody can get any looks at this.
The stack is going to be here from New York. They know that they just got 3 dead in the feed. They're only looking for 1 player. It's going really fast. You have to go if you are Atlanta FaZe. Hydra finds that kill. The pinch is not going to be quick enough. And New York, clean, 3-0 in the control. That control was like 4 minutes. They just dominated from start to finish. Dominant fashion. Now up 2-1.
God damn it, dude. Like, FaZe, just pull your dick out your ass, bro.
Coming into this.
Shit.
New York, 12-1. 12-1. In rounds in our last few controls. Unbelievably impressive. Hydra goes for 22-13. And that is a team who just has all the confidence in the world. How often have we talked about previously in control where it's like, oh yeah, we have these 12, 15, 18-minute games. That was 8 minutes and 5 seconds.
That was just a perfect game plan from New York. They start off on their very first attacking round going towards A. They get that one with these, and then eventually they find a transition over towards B. But on their second attacking round, Atlanta FaZe are probably thinking they're going to do the same exact thing. But New York, they change up strategy. They play nice and slow through middle. They catch a couple players trying to go towards the flank. Once they find that initial 2 kills, there's only 1 player left at that B point. You take him down, the stack early on comes in. You get those 2 segments. And then even better, as we go deeper into the round, when every single player spawns in towards kitchen, you're probably thinking, we're just going to sprint forward. Let's win this gunfight, take this player down, let's close out this A point. But every single player wraps back. They take control of bedroom, they close out B before attacking towards A. And then once that happens, they find a couple kills at that B point, and then they transition beautifully over towards A. Slasher did find that initial kill onto Kismet, but when you make it so easy for them to just go right up the middle of the map, go through connectors before anyone has any positioning for Atlanta FaZe, either pushed out towards kitchen or at least sitting in the point, that's when you allow New York to just get 1 set of kills and the round is going to be there. That was a flawless control from start to finish.
Jay, I don't know if like there's a specific team that it could maybe remind you of the way that New York is playing control right now, especially here on Hotel.
I think it's Toronto Ultra.
I was getting ready to say that, like a Cold War Moscow type of situation where it just feels like they have ultimate confidence. They have ultimate confidence. They're constantly pivoting between A and B. And when they're in those moments, they just have the slaying talent that can get them out of these sticky situations. And honestly, man, it feels like in these controls, it feels like we're playing like 6v4. Like it just feels like New York has this unlimited supply of constantly respawn players. And even teams like Atlanta FaZe, one of the most gifted slaying rosters that we've seen in COD history, they can't even handle that.
It's just a lot of aggression from New York. They're consistently putting on pressure when Hydra's just running around freely, ends the map 22-13, just slaying with that SMG. He's never giving you a breath. He's never giving you an opportunity to slow it down because he's always so fast and aggressive in towards your face. When Hydra is finding those kills, when he is playing like this NYSL team is basically unbeatable. And now going into this map number 4, which is Fortress Hardpoint, if you are Atlanta FaZe, you gotta rotate on this map or you are gonna go home.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? A lot of history on this upcoming map. Fortress Hardpoint, what very well could be the final resting place of this elimination final. New York haven't played Fortress Hardpoint a ton, but Jay, lately in our cast, they have been dominating teams like 250 to 150 in their last two. I mean, heck, we just saw Atlanta FaZe play this, and they made like a 150-point comeback.
The crazy part is, like, Atlanta FaZe had to play perfect hardpoint in that last series. They were down by almost 150 points. It all started with that P2. They were able to get the spawns, hold that for a full 60, and even with Seattle giving up that early rotation, Atlanta FaZe were able to find the break immediately. And then when you chain a couple hills together, trap them in towards the back, that's the way they were able to get back into the game. But we know the way that New York like to play this. They like to play super aggressive. They like Hydra and Kismet just roaming around in towards bottom R, in towards bottom maps. And with New York starting off on the bad side, Atlanta FaZe had to get a hard start to this hard point because they had to get some momentum. They have to get something to at least try to force that game 5.
Most teams in the CDL would be very happy with a third place finish. This Atlanta FaZe team, they would hate it. They would. They made this roster change. They made this move in the offseason, not even to just make finals, but to win them, and to win them dominantly.
Look at the route.
And here comes New York, confident as ever, as Hydra, as we said, young Skywalker, flying here throughout the fortress, trying to cause a little bit of pressure in the back of Atlanta FaZe's minds already on the more preferred side, and 30 seconds in, nobody's got a point yet.
Oh, no one's got a point, but New York, they're thinking big picture. They want to flip these spawns. No one even turns around to take down Skies. Unfortunately, cannot find that kill onto a BZ. But what a great break off from New York. To at least fight now for some P one time. Priest is just dancing around. He's finessing in towards bottom cannons. He stays alive long enough, cannot pick up the kill onto Slasher. But what a start to this hard point for New York to at least find some time off of P1 and avoid the early trap.
Good work from Atlanta, but I tell you what, man, that caught us all off guard when Hydra literally jumps across the map. And he has been the guy for this team so far who has lit up roster after roster. New York, a very aggressive team on this map where Atlanta FaZe is going to be prepared for that aggression. As here comes Priesta, Slasher having to pull up the Faznet, puts it to good use. And a sweat off the brow type of situation, you just cleared him out, but take a look at those spawns.
Look at those spawns for Simp. Now it's all your job to just stay alive, hold down double doors. It's going to be Priesta, a huge one-on-one gunfight. I don't know if he was able to spot him yet, but Atlanta FaZe is doing a great job of just holding down this time. Simp has a huge one-on-one. He's able to win it. Now it's going to force early off the rotation. Abizi trying to assist with a couple shots. Simp staying alive. He finds another kill. Celium finds one as well. Now there's only 2 players here from New York. They are going to put themselves in a great position to win the rotation. And with that gunfight from Priesta, that's going to be it.
FaZe says, all right, you want to go fast? Let's go fast. Let's see how that works out for you. A nice 50 to 18 advantage, however, a very interesting HP that sits before us next. Really one that Atlanta happened to struggle on in terms of being in that very same position last time on Fortress, but right now it's New York. Better side over at the Fountain as they look to clear the waves. But you gotta be careful. While you want this time, you also want to keep these players in the backside of the spawns. A lot of things to think about right now from FaZe, but they continue to fall by the wayside. 4 down, and more specifically, Hydra. It's gonna be a thorn in their side until they drop them.
He's trying to flip these spawns for a team, find a couple kills so they can get pushed out. Of course, this next hard point, Kismet at least finds the initial. Super aggressive in towards bottom middle. Hydra still just finessing in towards bottom art. Should be able to pick up this kill, but Simp with great snaps. Able to find that one. Still in the back, it's gonna be New York. Spawning on the bad side, so Atlanta FaZe, this is gonna be another rotation that they're able to win.
That's 2 big picks, can they make it 3? No, Abizi able to stay alive.
They get out.
A big pick to find. Atlanta continuing to slay with the best of them. This very well could be the only team that can hang with this New York aggression. As now it could be on the Skies, 45 seconds to go. It's a big kills to make. New York respond back with 2 of their own. Simp there for the double. As blows continue to be exchanged. Hydra falls as well. 35 very valuable points still to fight for Cannons.
Atlanta FaZe still in control of the spawns. If you are New York, you just want to try to keep them off. Priest at least finds one, but 2 of his teammates now drop. The nade does not connect. Eventually, he goes for the chow, and this has been a great hold from Atlanta FaZe to now take the lead once again in this game. Now Now it's all about this rotation over towards Blacksmith. That's going to be 3 dead in the feed. So New York, they find a break. That final 12 is going to be theirs. And if you are New York, you just want to slay on this side of the map. Try to trap them in towards the back. But a couple spawns for Atlanta FaZe are going to be towards street.
And right now, take a look at the playing column really for either side. It has been a very aggressive fortress so far. I mean, we talk about on this map in general, man. It is all out chaos. It is aggression, it's aggression, it's aggression. Both these teams doing that as New York rushing through the front. 15-8 now for Simp. On the other side, trying to lead the way, really is a multitude of different players. Right now, Kismet, Priesta, and Hydra all sitting on a bit of a spree. Nice little bit of momentum granted right here from New York as they're locking things down over at the Blacksmith. They've reached that century mark, but Atlanta FaZe jumping in again.
With Celian pushing up towards street, and now the spawns are going to flip, so New York have to try to get out of it, but 2 players are actually going to spawn out towards stage. They're all the way across the map. Too aggressive right now is going to be Atlanta FaZe. Kismet and Skies, they combine for at least 2 win. You have to slay out if you are Atlanta. You don't want to get put in towards the trap. They're now all going to be spawning in towards the back, and Hydra finds another 2 in the feed with that Vaznev in hand. Now going into the second rotation of hardpoints, New York have the better side. Atlanta FaZe have to break out.
And this is where the game got out of hand. This is why Atlanta FaZe was down the way that they were, by being in that very same spawn trap. But player number 3 manages to sneak on through. The Tiny Terrors trying to make the play, and there you have it. A flipping of the spawns. Normally we call that out and say, oh my gosh, what a play. And it is a big deal. But spawns can flip very quickly. 40 to go, and Hydra starting to line them up. A bit of confidence right now for the French Phenom. He's trying to lead this franchise toward a final. Eventually does get wiped away, and Atlanta will seize control again, down by a bit. But as we said, they've got themselves set up quite nicely for our next few HPs.
They're controlling the spawns. We saw them hold down that feed 2 for a full 60 last go around. And that's going to be 3 dead in the feed. New York are not able to get out, but that's going to be Kismet just simply staying alive in towards bottom art. He's now going to flip these spawns. Atlanta FaZe thought they had the trap going, but at least they find a couple kills to at least maintain this side. Now the next player is going to be Hydra. Just wants to play his life in towards top art, and this time is going to go towards Atlanta FaZe. They're still trapping him in towards the back.
This very well may be the most dangerous player in a position like this. Hydra has not been spotted. Takes down a BZ as well. Simp, Atlanta FaZe staggered. Where has Hydra gone? Where could he be? And now with spawns, they can't seem to do a single thing right now. Celian, now it's his turn to try to take down the French Phenom. Eventually, they are able to drop him, but that is 30 seconds that Atlanta was banking on to have. And as the spree comes in, it is still trade after trade. I don't know if that trick necessarily did much.
Oh, the streak did absolutely nothing. New York are still putting on a lot of pressure, not allowing Atlanta FaZe to get a good chunk of time off of this, but their focus has to be maintaining the spawns for the next hill. 1 player in a BZ is going to be able to sneak on through. A big gunfight versus Sky. Unfortunately, he's going to put down a couple bullets, not able to pick up the kill. Celian finds a second, and still 2 players here from New York.
Oh, 1 spawns out, 1 ends up spawning out, make it 2 for New York. Player number 6 has to go big. That's going to be Skies. 3 end up falling. And now Simp called upon to drop him. Atlanta, they want this time. They need this time. But will they be able to make it happen? It is just an all-out battle, a headbutt over at the fountain, and it's this time where New York comes out on top.
And if you are Atlanta FaZe, you need to find a break quickly. You do not want to let this game get out of hand. Still 30 seconds remaining on towards P3. 2 players trying to approach the big door. They find that initial kill on towards Kismet, but now it's all up to Hydra. Hydra takes down 2. That's going to be 3 dead. Now he's going to force Atlanta FaZe off that rotation. You do not want to allow New York to get out. Big kill coming in from Slasher to take down Hydra. A trap has to happen now if you want to get back into this.
Oh, Kismet nearly manages to escape. Atlanta going to try to trap him back here for as long as they can, but can Hydra be the one who breaks out from those chains? Can he be the one who breaks through the setup and ultimately puts Atlanta FaZe away? This hardpoint's gonna mean everything. Hydra gets found out. Kismet at least there for the trade. Trying to stay up. A few members from New York have crossed that 50-yard line, but how much farther can they go? Guys eventually gets dropped. Hydra still firing, staying alive. 6 HP in a dream. The SMG duo from New York trying to cause havoc. Hydra once more, still on a run. New York, they've broken through, but what can happen at this point in the game? Hydra continuing to go off. Atlanta not confident in hopping on this objective, and who would blame them?
They have the spawns, but Hydra's is causing them so many problems. He's the nuisance. Right now, in towards top bar has not been able to get taken down. Fortunately, the team kill does come in. So Atlanta FaZe are able to get this remaining 15 seconds, but now it's off the rotation over towards Blacksmith. Atlanta are going to be there first, but Hydra is still causing problems. 22-9. Lease finds a trade onto Celium, and if you are Atlanta FaZe, you want to make sure you're controlling towards stage. You want to try to trap New York in towards the back of that P3. So far, they're just trying to find every single kill on this side of the map, but the spawns are all over. That's going to be 2 dead. Last 2 players from New York in towards Arc and trying to fight for stage shot.
Yeah, every kill means so much right now for Atlanta, and now it could be on to Simp to try to make the plays. Oh, he could find a few right now. Oh, he could find a few, but in turn, it's the opposite way. New York, they managed to find 4 straight, and because of that, Atlanta now find themselves in a bind. All 4 players, the entire team is here. Can they walk away with the trades? It's a quick 2 for 2. It's on to Easy. It's now on to Slasher.
Holy shit.
New York again.
Scared me.
Coming
Even
out
though I
on
was
top.
expecting it. It's weird.
What?
New York basically put a bow
My
on this
headphones
game.
are hanging on for dear life. I swear to God, they are straight up hanging on by a thread.
Now the Lex line in defense. Celium is able to find 2. You
It's
want to try to
like
break
every
down
time I
the
take
door.
them
Atlanta
off, I'm
FaZe
risking
going
them
back and
just
forth.
like
That's gonna be
falling
3
apart.
for each squad. Atlanta FaZe at least have 1 player who's able to sneak his way onto stage.
All
but they're
right,
still
so
getting those bad spawns.
what are you
25
doing?
seconds until
Watching
New York
FaZe,
fall
dude, they're
series.
about to
Are they
lose.
really about to do this, New York? Considering
No way,
the week
to
that
who?
they had,
The fucking
Major 1
subliners, dude.
qualifiers, everybody laughed
the
at them.
fuck did they
said, what a
snort?
roster change. This team's not fit
Dude,
to make
FaZe
it
is
far in
getting
tournament.
shit
And
on
right
my
now,
guy.
they sit less than
Yeah, we're
20
all
guys.
watching
getting
it.
shit.
Colin
Dude,
Game
holy
versus
fuck.
FaZe,
60 difference.
sending themselves to
It's
a final.
237 to 175, dude. Are you
That's a
shitting
60
me?
gonna go
difference.
away.
They came back from a
They made comebacks
150
before. In
point
fact, they made
deficit.
one
man.
less
I
than
don't
a
know.
few
Dude,
years
it's
ago.
2-1,
On this
dude. The
very
previous
map
matches, they're
mode,
getting
they have
stomped.
another clutch.
Fucking one of the
Comes up for
subliners
us.
was running a
Could
good-ass
Kismet
route,
be
my
the
guy.
one to be the savior right now from subliners? No. 15 seconds to go. A rotation now towards stage. NY with spawns for the
Ooh.
moment.
They get him off for that time. Now
Because
your
if
focus
FaZe doesn't
simply
win this,
find one
it's
set of
probably
kills.
going
The
to
game is gonna be
change.
yours. Kismet at
They're probably
least
going to switch their
finds
roster up.
Trade is trying to come in from a BZ. Just going to play it super patient. Wait for Hydra to get that assistance. 10 seconds left. Atlanta FaZe, they have to go.
They gotta rush in. They gotta do something. Time continues to tick away. Simp,
Finds
he's
2.
gotta jump through.
Gotta
Sally
go.
trying to make the pick.
Oh.
Atlanta will break in for a moment, but they're only 1
Oh.
second away.
Oh,
Atlanta
they saved it at the
clears
last point.
board.
Atlanta FaZe, they get the break. Now you
Oh,
need to hold this
blocked
down.
by
This
the
has to
gun.
be perfect hard point from here on out. You cannot allow New York to get 1 second. They're just going to play this patient. You have 1 player in the BZ who's just trying to make sure he wins that rotation battle. But
Could it be Priesta? Could it be Priesta? To make the play.
Fine, Slasher,
It's been
that's
all
it.
about him.
Oh, that's it.
Our tournament long.
That's it.
can come
Ooh!
back.
Holy shit! What a fucking clutch. Jesus. That was nutty.
How could we?
Man, fuck this booty ass tournament, boy.
Bro, no fucking way. Yeah, that's it. That's the